Hi everybody, Russ and my Hammers 11. Hope you're safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware of any time we put new videos on. As always, I'd like to thank our channel sponsors, Untuck It. Check them out in the description below. Lots of Black Friday deals coming out, particularly if you like to wear your shirts untucked like I do. Today's guest, now he's put himself as Jack's dad, but he's not just Jack's dad. He's his own person. Obviously, we had Jack on a few weeks ago, Jack Dean, and Jack mentioned basically the influence of his dad to become a West Ham fan. So I thought, let's just get his dad on. Let's get Steve on. Here we are. It's Steve, not Jack's dad. It's Steve. How are you, Steve?
Yeah, I'm good, Russ. How are you? You all right?
I'm all right, thank you very, very much, mate. Not too bad, not too bad. How is how's lockdown 2.0 treating you?
It's no different, really. I'm still working. You know, I've been working throughout all the lockdown.
Yeah, me too, man.
So it hasn't affected me too much. Obviously, I haven't seen Jack as much, and my daughter Charlie. You know, sort of it's sad not seeing them as much as I like to, because I like to see them like every week if I can. But as it's not been possible, and now they're stopping you from going around people's houses, so probably for a little while.
Yeah, it is. It's it. But I mean, it's there's some solace in that we are in this sort of weird world with the technology we have. I mean, if it was like, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, God, we wouldn't have FaceTime.
I don't know what we would have done.
No,
20 years.
no.
We would have like killed each other, wouldn't we? We would have done.
There'd be no Netflix. There'd be no decent. It'd be playing Snake on your phone, you know, and Tetris, and that's about it, isn't it? And Duck Hunt.
Do you reckon Blockbusters would have been shut as well?
It would probably. I mean, could you imagine? It'd be rife. It'd be rife. It'd have to be quarantined every video, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
You're popping through the letterbox, and it's like, 14 days before you could have another one back. But oh God,
at least we've got this now, eh?
It's something, isn't it?
That's one bright spark, really. I suppose.
Yeah, it is, and it's like, I mean, obviously, and people had dads, don't they? It's like the football, isn't it? It's like, you know, we haven't been able to, you know, well, obviously, I can, but just because I work there. But obviously, you know, guys like yourselves, you know, be going to the games for years and years and years, and have to watch it on the telly, and it's just, you know, we'll have to watch it on.
But you know, 20 years ago, there was hardly any football on the TV, really, was there? You know.
Yeah.
Just a select game here and there. If you're lucky, it might be sort of Man U, West Ham, and that's about all they would show of us, weren't it? So I think since the first lockdown, we've been seeing so much games, so many games, so much football. It's been great. I've watched pretty much every West Ham game on TV, and that's something I couldn't say any other time.
No, exactly. And I mean, do you watch it? Do you watch it with the crowd noise on or off, or whatever's on?
I think I like the crowd noise on.
Yeah.
You know, especially when they do it properly, because, you know, I swear, like when we done Chelsea, I swear I could hear them singing "Stick the Blue Flag Up Your Ass." You know what I mean? Was that you?
No, it's not. But no, it's all done because I thought it was a poor intern on like a sound desk just pressing buttons, but it's not. I spoke to a guy called Travis Newton. This is months ago. This was during the first lockdown, just when it all started in terms of the football again, and it's all done through technology, all done through AI. So they got the FIFA noises in because they're all recorded, and based on how well the team's doing and the possession, the noise level goes up. Honestly, it's amazing. And that impressed me even more.
Sometimes it's really good, you know, and they have booing for like dodgy decisions and everything. It's great.
But it's true. It's true. It's good, man. I thought it was funny. Go on.
No, it's gone. I didn't want to sort of break away from that, but I wanted to ask you, like, you know, what your job is. Apart from the podcast, you actually work like at West Ham, don't you?
Yeah. So basically, I'm the to put it in. I'm the match day DJ. That's what I do. Right. Yeah, so like all that's what. So and I've done it. This is my 20th season. Obviously, last year was the longest season I've ever done, but this year is my 20th season, and I play all the music in the stadium. So, and I've so Bubbles and everyone takes a mickey at me. So I play Foo Fighters and we lose and all that type. You know, that's what I do, and so I've been doing it for 20 years. So yeah, and it's obviously the last dozen games or so has been the weirdest in my life because there's been no one there. And I get home in 20. So like on Saturday, I got home. What was it? Finished about 10:30. I was home by 20 to about 10 to 11, which never happens.
Yeah.
But it's good for. I mean, I'm very privileged, and it's I love it because obviously I'm a fan, and as I said, I fell into it like a lot of people do when these things. It's just just things happen, and yeah, it's brilliant. It's good fun, and.
Do you get to know a lot of the players then?
Not now, because I mean, obviously in the old girl, it was a bit different because you had like you'd walk in the same entrance basically, so everyone would go through that sort of West Stand entrance, wouldn't it? Those double doors of West Ham United between the two turrets and stuff. So and you'd walk around and you have to sort of go through, past the through the tunnel and along with it. So you did bump into people and you knew of people and they sort of recognised you. But now obviously similar to most modern day football stadiums, the player entrance is very different from the workman's entrance, we'll say that. And so I go in one way, and even more so now because they have to be, because you have these different zones now because of all COVID. So I'm in amber and all the players are in red. So, never the twain shall meet basically at the moment. But no, I mean, we still see a lot of the older players. I mean, obviously we've been fortunate enough because of doing this channel really to get a lot of them on, like the guys I sort of used to know-ish, we know of each other. But no, you don't see any of the new ones now. Not so many now. It's just the way it is now. It's just the way it is in terms of modern day football, really. And I think, and that's one of my big gripes at the moment is like the modern footballer is almost like on a different level now. Do you know what I mean? In terms, so even like Upton Park and stuff, you could get your, I don't know, Lucas Neal to sign your shirt, or you'd walk past and see Shaka Hislop in Safeways, but you don't get it no more now, do you? And that's the same with all modern football. But no, I do enjoy it, and I can't wait for everyone to get back, to be honest, because it's just weird, when you're at the game and you can just open the door. And you can't hear nothing apart from maybe Davy Moyes shouting and Oggy and Declan Rice and the other team, and just a journalist typing.
Yeah,
that's all you can hear. It's horrible.
It's not
absolutely
the same,
horrible. It's not the same. Nah.
And you've got no crowd noise there, have you?
Yeah, you got no. So we sort of do. So like where we've always played. So we played when we got the count for Bubbles. It's in the 1975 FA Cup version. We've always played ever since for the last 20 years, even more than that, I'd imagine. So we've put a new mix together, so we've sort of overlaid it with the crowd singing Bubbles, so at least it's sort of like a little bit of something. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise it's just like, particularly when you hit Fortunes, because obviously I drop the music.
That moment there, you know what I mean? You need it. Yeah, that's so wrong, ain't it? So wrong. So you put the crowd in.
Yeah, so we've got this sort of new one, so it mixes it in. So so we'll get rid of it when everyone's back in the ground, because I wouldn't want to put music, like put fake crowd noise in. We don't need that when everyone's back. No, everyone's going to be singing.
I didn't know if it was Sky who were doing that. Was actually you doing that?
Yeah, so basically you have to. So in terms of how it all works, I can't play any crowd noise from kickoff, because obviously that would affect then the stuff on the broadcasters, whether it's Sky or BT. So yeah, but obviously pre-match, half-time and end of game we're okay. So although another thing we've had to do in terms of, since we've gone into this sort of behind closed doors sort of world, is play goal music, which I've never done. I've never played goal music. I've always been a little bit anti. It's a bit American for my liking, Steve. And so we played that. Otherwise it's just flat, isn't it? Like so for example, on Saturday when Souček scores a 93rd, or the Chelsea game you mentioned the other day, Souček scores, that is Souček again, but Yarmolenko scores that sort of third goal, and if they couldn't play any crowd noise or couldn't play any music or whatever, it's just like, oh great, there's only about 30 people there celebrating, so it makes it a little bit better. I hope I'm not.
Don't worry, everyone was jumping around in their living rooms,
exactly. It doesn't really matter. But that's the thing. And then obviously on Saturday, obviously Souček scores, 93rd minute. So I'd assumed it was a draw. So I had all my music lined up for Foo Fighters ready for a draw. And then it's like, oh, it's a goal. Okay, so I get it ready for Twist and Shout and Bubbles. Oh, it's a penalty again. Okay, so I put it back in for Foo Fighters. Oh, it's been that stupid penalty. So honestly, it was. But then for the rest of the game, there was nothing. You know what I mean? It was just like this mad panic at the end of the game. But we won.
You're so lucky. You're so lucky though to be going to every.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I know I'm very fortunate, which is why I try and do stuff like I always try if I can jump on a live stream, one of the West Ham YouTube, whether it's Hammers Chat or Irons United or something like that, just because I'm there and I want at least other people to experience being there. Do you know what I mean? So I might take a little video or do a picture or something like that, just to show people, it's still there. The girls still doing it, and looks brilliant. The pitch looks fantastic, to be fair. But the grounds haven't got much more to do, to be honest, at the moment. So and then now they've got 2 weeks off, haven't they? Because obviously international duties now.
Yeah.
Although I'm not, I'll be honest, I'm not an England fan, but I don't like the internationals. You know what I mean? I just don't think of it.
There's not really many left. It's not like it used to be, is it? England games, nothing like they used to be, and there's too many friendlies. And it disrupts the league too much.
It does,
Keep having national breaks, and obviously you're going to get players injured in those international games. So we could do without it, because when we've actually got players, we don't need them getting injured. Like Dean Ashton, do you remember?
Oh, that's the only reason that I actually watch the England games, or have it is the Ashton effect on Declan Rice. Just checking, he's all right, he's okay. Oh, he's not injured, and that's the trouble. You want your players to play for England and play at the highest level, but you don't want to get injured. So it's like this juxtapositioning.
You say that, but I don't want Antonio playing for England. Just want him playing for us.
Yeah. Could you imagine trying to do 2-3 games a day? He'd be knackered when he come back to it. At least Dec's fit enough to do that because he's his game.
In the last season or so, his fitness has really gone up, ain't it? He's stepped his game up so much.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always run, and the end of the game, his energy levels are dipping a bit, and that's when he has to come off. But now he can play the whole 90 minutes, 95 minutes or whatever,
I just think he's been selective with what he does. Do you know what I mean? He's just like he used to be a bit like a headless chicken, a bit like when Carlos Tevez came to West Ham. And he was just ran everywhere and wasn't very effective. And when Curbs went, you just stay up there, you stay up front, Carlos. We'll kick the ball to you. And that's the same with him. It's like don't run after that stupid ball in the corner. Just wait.
I was going to pick Tevez, but now you sort of put me off because I thought. The guy is a West Ham legend. A lot of games for us, but
for someone who played, if you look at a very few amount of games, he made an incredible impact on West Ham.
Yeah.
And on I can't think of another player who made such an impact.
I've loved him ever since. I've loved him ever since. I went to West Ham City when he was playing there.
Yeah,
and he put on the West Ham top at the end, and he's just walking around waving at all the fans and that. And
he brought back this, didn't he? He brought that, or they did it like that. He brought that back, really. People were doing it in the 70s and 80s, but I don't remember anyone doing it in the 90s or the 2000s until Tevez came back as a Man United player. And now we all just nick it, don't we? We all do it now. But no, he's he had and we'll probably come back to that later, but he had a report the other day doing an interview saying the only team he'd come back to in Europe would be West Ham.
Nice one.
So I mean, man's played for Man City, Man United, Juventus, won Premier Leagues and cups, but no, he wants to come back to Chadwell Heath. No, that wouldn't be Chadwell, Rush Green. He'll come. It'd be a new stadium. We'll know what's going on. New stadium, new training facilities. But yeah, no, he's a good man.
No, I love him. Now I've swapped him though because I had a sub.
I've swapped him out for Samasi Abu. That's very good of you. Now, Samasi Abu, I believe Samasi Abu is a cab driver in Basildon.
Really? What now?
That's what I've heard. Yeah, I believe he's a cab driver in Basildon. God bless him. Abu. Do you remember? He was another one who I used to serve when I used to work at Safeways, and he had incredibly intense eyes, even when he was not playing.
Scary.
really scary. And obviously, I had a bit of GCSE French in the old back pocket, so I would sort of, ask him where the bank is. No, so I can remember. But no, he was lovely guy, and it was always, I think, it always put people off thinking we hated him because of everyone thinks we're just booing him all the time, but until they realised what was going on. But no, it's good. No, I love it. But anyway, first question, 15 and a half minutes in. Good start, Steve. Why are you a West Ham fan, Steve? Obviously, we know Jack's story. Jack's story is obviously heavily influenced by your story. But why are you a West Ham fan, mate?
This is like the 1980 FA Cup final.
Yeah.
I was my family came from like around Queen's Park Rangers area, so we wasn't like a religiously Queen's Park Rangers fans.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't. It didn't mean a lot to change teams. And one of my cousins, I was very close to him. He was an Arsenal fan. When he got into the final, I was like, I want West Ham to win. They're the underdogs. You always want the underdogs to win, don't you? And I made a vow. I was like, and if they want to become my team forever, and he was like, oh yeah, all right. And yeah, it's like we won. I'm still there, and we haven't won anything ever since. Nothing.
But they got you.
It don't take the love away. No,
it don't. It don't. But they got you, didn't they? They nabbed you in, Steve, and that was it. And then you blink and it's 40 years on.
I'm glad I didn't pick Man City or Chelsea or any of the top teams. I'm so glad I went for such a family team as well. When you go to the ground and you see like grandmothers with their grandchildren, and it's everyone's just in it. Well,
it's so true.
Apart from when we're losing.
Yeah, but even when we're losing, we have this. I mean, I've I come up with these really weird analogies, and one of them is when I started to learn the guitar. When my she's starting to play the drums, and you have to sort of develop like extra skin on your fingers to like play the guitar properly or to play the drums. And that's like West Ham.
Yeah,
and that's like West Ham. We're hardened.
We're used to losing, so when we just brush it off, don't we? Nothing. But when we win, it's something amazing. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter who we win against. It's an amazing for us all because it's rare we get a season where we win most games or win half our games even. It's just this season to be like that, the way it's going, it's great, it's great.
It is going great, but there's still that West Ham side of us, so even like, even when we're, that Tottenham game, that was like an amazing game, an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Within like 2 seconds of that final whistle, we shouldn't have been 3-0 down after 15 minutes. More is that, it's like, it's always a thing with West Ham fans.
Yeah. We do moan about it, and
of course we do.
We hate West Ham as much as we love them,
Yeah.
It's like we do hate them for how they treat us. We're like, you should treat us better than this. We give you so.
Yeah.
We want more. The GSB and all that. I just like. I don't really get involved with it because.
No, me neither.
They do try. I think they do try. And they have brought in some good players. And they've done some good business when you look into it. It's better. It's like that's amazing that they've got him on loan.
Yeah.
And it's like, why fork out the money?
No, exactly. Exactly.
And that's great business, but everyone still moaned about it.
Yeah, because it happened. Because the way it happened, wasn't it? I think it's like, and it's like afterwards when you reflect, you go, actually, I'd rather pay 2 million or whatever it is, £3 million for a £30 million player than spend £30 million and he's no good. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
because there's no guarantees.
Nah, but the thing is, it's always been the way, Steve. I mean, you're an experienced fan. I call you, an experienced. So it's always been the Bond schemes and the Browns and the Kearns, and it's always it doesn't matter who's in charge. There's always a yay and a nay.
We've had some bad owners, haven't we? Previous.
Yeah, Eggy as well.
We went broke, didn't we? You know what I mean? There was a time where we could have been in real deep trouble.
Yeah.
I think was it Golden Sullivan who sort of saved us?
So the Icelandics, wasn't it? Yeah. Eggy and Spen.
That was such a bad move. You know.
we had a bit of a bad run with shirt sponsors as well that time. Do you remember? We had like XL Airlines, and then we had that patch on. Yeah, I think this one went out of business. We had banding with. It seemed like, honestly, we had 3 or 4 of the SBO bets went out of business. I think, all these ones got out of business as soon as they sponsor West Ham. I'm not saying nothing, but I remember it because they had a big banner. XL Holidays had a big banner on the old East Stand, so when you're flying over from Stansted, you'd see it. And, and then they went into receivership, and then for about 3 or 4 seasons, we kept them in these horrible patches on our shirts, like holding hiding the old sponsors, and it's all, and that's part of West Ham.
I quite liked Dr. Martens.
Yes,
when they was on the shirt, because they've always been cool, haven't they? Throughout the decades.
And it sort of fitted West Ham, didn't it? Dr. Martens, it really did. Yeah, the Bobber Boys and stuff. But it's funny because I was looking. I did my 11 right, like months and months ago, and my good friend Steve Krieger made this really cool artwork with like the Sabutio players, with like the shirts of the players that I picked, and they're pretty much all Dr. Martens. So that era was my era. Do you know what I mean? And so like the Trevor Sinclairs of this world and Rios and stuff. Dr. Martens,
amazing team, didn't
we? Oh, phenomenal team. We had Harry on, and he months ago, and Harry was like saying, if we'd still had that team, I'd have to sell them, we'd have won the league. And yeah, he probably would have. He probably would have, to be honest,
Yeah.
And although I didn't, when he interviewed Trevor Sinclair, he said we could have got into the Champions League that year. We finished 5th, but Harry would let us go out for a beer every Tuesday night, and then not have training on a Wednesday. Yeah. So but then again, it's a different time, wasn't it? It was a different time. Football players, they could go out for a beer and not be criticised for partying and stuff like that. And Christ,
there was a day when players used to go for a beer before the game, weren't there?
Well, yeah, and training, yeah. We had Bish they used to call Bish Polo because he'd always have a pack of Polos in his pocket in case Bonzo came over during training. He just
really?
And I told him this, and he went, nah.
Didn't happen.
They were extra strong mints. They were.
Nice one.
But it's true. I mean, Razor got banned. I mean, I live in Hornchurch. Razor got banned from what was it? Romford Town Centre. He had a 2-mile exclusion zone from a Christmas party, and that obviously includes Channel Heath, so he couldn't train.
Oh no! So did he go training?
Well, Harry sorted it out, so they reduced it. But then, things like that. You don't get them nowadays. I find it a bit boring. I'll be honest. I find football now a bit boring. Not even back in the day, because I'm not, but sort of mid-90s, early 2000s, the John Moncurs, you had your Ian Bishops, all these great players, and they were just great personalities as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just, everyone's lives in, penthouse places in Canary Wharf and things. They're just you just wouldn't get it anymore now. But it's social media and stuff. I mean, it'll be funny. Your son's made a career out of it, so, but it's sort of taken over, isn't it, in terms of that? Which is a shame, because I think there was nothing ever as exciting I could think of as a kid than seeing a football player walking down the high street. Might not even be a West Ham. It could be any football player walking down the high street. It was the most exciting thing I can remember. Do you know what I mean?
I still find it quite exciting now, though.
Yeah, but you don't see him around it much, do you? You don't just. I mean, you don't now, obviously, because we're all locked down. But
no, I remember I remember when me and Jack went to one of the last games at Upton Park, and after the game, we went up to the KFC and had a meal in there, and then we had. I think Upton Park station was shut, so we had to go up to Barking, and we had to go back past the ground. And there's the queue of traffic, where it's just chocker.
Yeah.
Like, all the fans are going up to these cars, so we're like, be the players, Dad, come on, let's go over there. And sure enough, it was, and he got a few selfies with a few of the players, which, that had never happened with. No. After the game, you're in a rush just to get away,
Of course you are, yeah.
We never sort of hung around after a game, but that night we was like, I saw it, everyone's heading to Bark. And we was glad we did. Got our program signed and that.
Yeah, exactly. That was just fun. The fun of the day. I remember Christ, I remember Bernard Lama. Do you remember Bernard Lama for half a season? And he would always leave literally as soon as the whistle happened. I don't think he showered. I think he literally just got in the car and pulled out. And obviously he pulls out straight into Green Street when there's 30,000 people walking through it, and he just is stuck there every game. And then he has all the fans on the car singing. We got Bernard Lama, singing the song and stuff like that. It's just brilliant. I used to love it. I still love it, but it's that sort of, now we're entertained by fantastic skill. We're entertained by, rather than the entertainment of it, the whole sort of thing, which is a shame, because I just think, particularly now, we like to be entertained at the moment. We need it more than anything. But it's all good. And that's why we do this, because we can reminisce about those players of past and do it. So anyway, let's talk about your 11, Steve. So as I said, everyone we get on the channel, they give their Hammers 11. So the only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. No disrespect, Steve, but I think you're an experienced fan, and so you've got quite a good spread of players. A lot easier than Jack, I think, to be honest. So we'll start off in goal. Who's in goal for the Steve Dean 11?
I'm going Adrian.
Adrian?
Yeah, Adrian. I mean, in the early days, that guy, do you know what I mean? Hammer of the season, wasn't he? At least once.
Yeah.
And he could stop penalties. You almost felt confident when he had to sort of go up against someone taking a penalty. It was almost like 50-50 with him, whereas, other keepers, it's just not.
Yeah. Or they could just, or they could do what they
like the last season, or
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Overall, I could have gone for Fabianski, I think, but I didn't want to pick too many recent players, because I would have picked pretty much most of the squad, of the recent team. I do love them. I think
I do.
We've got a class team, and it seems like we've filled every position. Whereas another thing with my 11, Russ, right? I haven't got because West Ham have never really had a special right back, have we?
Nah, it's an area.
Who did you pick in yours, Russ?
I had Sebastian Schemmel.
Yeah,
who was probably
debating Schemmel, but I don't think. Yeah, I would just put one of my centre backs out there. You know what I mean?
God, yeah. Who would you put in? Who would you put in, Steve? Who's going to fill in that void of the right back slot?
Steve Potts.
Yeah, I mean, Steve played, didn't he? He started off as a right back.
Yeah, I like Steve Potts. Another one. Do you know what I mean? Another sort of early days of the Premier League and that. That's when I started really taking a new interest in West Ham again, football in general. I was a raver sort of in the 90s, like early, sort of late 80s, early 90s, and I sort of for a little while I just got into my dancing. But when I went back to it, it was like Stevie Potts. He was the man. I loved seeing him in that team, and even later on, when he was still making the team, even though he's getting, it was like, Steve's still there.
He was brilliant. We had a thing last week, Steve Potts Appreciation Night, where we had like we did like a little video package of Steve, and we had a few people talking. And I've got here a picture of Steve. I've still got it on my thing. This is Steve. That was Steve's in 1981. I've still got it. That was his school team, his school rugby team. He's a fly half for his school rugby team. I got a couple of his mates sent me a couple of his mates that will send him some stuff to do him in. But no, he's a top bloke, top bloke. And he started off his career at right back, and obviously then he moved into centre back a bit later on when Tim Breaker came in. God, Tim Breaker, I forgot about Tim Breaker. God bless him. Sorry. Right. Okay. So that's your right back. Let's do your left back then. Who's on your left back there position?
Yeah, I'm going left back. Cresswell. Yep. Yeah. I mean, he's had his moments, but overall, he's been with us a long time. There was a time when he could have probably gone to Liverpool. You know what I mean? There was talk
Yeah.
about him going, and I was so gutted. I was like, he's probably our best player. What, we can't lose him. We need him. And yeah, bless him. He's having a good season now. You know, with Matsuaku like in front of him, I think that's good pair.
It is.
Seems to work well with their one touches, and it's good. I like it.
It does,
So,
and you're right. It works. It works, doesn't it? It works, and obviously his legs are gone a little bit. You know, he got injured and his legs are gone a bit. But with Masuaku there, he doesn't have to do the running, and Masuaku can't really defend much, so it just works. And he was man of the match against Fulham, I'd say. Cress was.
Yeah,
he was solid. I reckon. I reckon. Again, it's the formation works for him. That sort of back three and him just sitting there. So no, he's a good man, and he's been here a while. He's been there, you know, good 6 years or something like that now. So that's good for a modern footballer. You know what I mean? Getting 6 years out of a player. Obviously, he was injured for a little bit, but he used to be consistent every season he's played. You know what I mean? So right, okay. So put Cressy at left back. Oh, he's brilliant. I just think, and he does, you know, even now, he like the free kicks, he does like, you know, and the cross. I mean, I haven't done the stats, but there's been a lot of crosses he's taken where he's scored recently, you know, some good crosses getting in with him. And as West Ham Clips calls him, the Scouse Maldini, which I think is absolutely brilliant. I love West Ham Clips. It's so funny. He's a good man. Right. Okay. Let's go centre half. So who's your first proper centre half then, Steve?
Dixie.
Yeah. Let me find him. Good old Jules.
Dix, definitely. 100% in everyone's team, ain't he?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's a generational thing, isn't it? So, you know, take Jack, for example. Jack never saw Julian play, really, sort of towards the end. So he not in his team. But for Julian was my, you know, everything I knew West Ham when I started watching him. He scored the first goal I ever saw at Upton Park. And, you know, it's a typical Julian 30-yarder, you know, top court, top bins. But he's just, it was quality, weren't he? Absolute quality.
Yeah, step up for a penalty all day long. Smash it. So, Julian Dix, definitely. 100%.
And who's going to be the last piece of this defense? Who's going to be your last centre-back, mate?
This will probably be a surprise for you. Christian Daly.
The love of my life.
Yeah, I just love what he gave us, you know what I mean? And he gave his teeth, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Not many people would do that, would they?
Nah, proper old school defender, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put his face, or literally put his face in the line of fire. But and obviously he was part of that fantastic sort of that run, that sort of championship run where we got into the playoffs 2 years in a row. And I always remember that Ipswich game. And we'd won, and he came on the mic and gave this like sort of Braveheart sort of, you know, it can't take our freedom sort of, and then we lost, but it was against Palace. But he was a great, and he had a song, and everyone still sings a song. I love players with a good song, and top bloke. He always used to drink in the Green Man in Waltham Abbey. There we go. For anyone who was around there, I think he probably still lives around here, actually. Right. Okay. There's Mr. Daly. Right. He's in. Write that down. Right. Okay. We playing 4 in midfield, Steve? We're playing 4-4-2 or?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's go left midfield, left wing. Who's on the left, mate?
On the left. Well, I don't know. Could we have on the left? I'm going to have Dimitri Payet.
Of course you can. You can, Steve. You can put whoever you want in your 11. Yes, you can put whoever. Payet could have played anywhere, mate, couldn't he? To be honest.
Yeah.
What a player!
I mean, just to have an outstanding player like that, just even for a short amount of time, you know, I've got to put him in there. I saw a few games where he's just a masterclass. You know, even when we lost the games, the guy done things I've never seen, not live anyway. You know, not for a long time. Not at West Ham.
And probably, sad enough, probably never again will have someone of that ability. Maybe. I mean, I like maybe the boy Ben Rama. Everyone's sort of, you know, he's got a bit of Payet about him. Do you know what I mean?
He's a bit fair, yeah.
Yeah, flary, and that's how you get sort of nominated for the Ballon d'Or if you're a little bit, flary, And no, he's brilliant. And if it weren't for him, you mentioned the last season at Upton Park, that wouldn't have been half as good, would it, without him?
No,
No.
not at all.
And it just worked, didn't it? He just worked. I loved him. I thought he was a great player.
Yeah,
and definitely. It's a shame how he left, but it happens with those type of players, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those sort of mercurial players, those sort of enigma players, they'll throw their toys out of the pram, innit?
Yeah.
That's what happens. It happens very often with West Ham or any of those types of players. That's why I always used to like playing Arsenal, because you get digging at Arsenal, you give them a little dig in the ribs, and then they start throwing their toys out of the pram, and then they lose their head. It's the same thing, but big fan of Dimmy. Right, okay, we'll put Mr. Payet in. Let's go for the other. Let's go on the other side. Who should we have on the other side? The other wing, then, Steve.
Trevor Sinclair.
Oh.
Trevor Sinclair, another legend,
Oh, brilliant. Absolute legend.
Yeah.
Love the man.
Scored a great goal on Boxing Day when we done Charlton 5-0. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember the goal he scored?
Yeah. Never scored a tap-in. Never seemed to score an easy goal. Do you know what I mean?
Had to be an overhead or something, didn't it? But that's, it's great to have players like, got one, didn't he, the other day? And it was like, oh, go on, get in, son. That's a goal. What a great goal. Not as good as Lanzini's against Spurs, but still a great goal. I think it got third in goal of the month, didn't it?
Probably something like
One of Antonio's did, I know.
Yeah.
So, Trevor Sinclair on the right.
Brilliant. Top bloke, top man. Big fan of the channel. We love Trev, and because we've got Trev on there, we'll get a like. We'll get a retweet from Trev. So there we go. It's all good. Anytime his name pops up, he always likes it, because just to say I was still going.
Yeah, him on Twitter, and I love his tweets. I love what the guy. He doesn't care. He'll write what he thinks, and that's great. I love that.
Still really, really passionate about West Ham and the fan base. And I think it's about. And, I think there's certain players who really endear themselves to West Ham, and I think they realise, I think Trevor realised, the effect West Ham, obviously, we resurrected his career coming to West Ham. QPR was like, he obviously scored that free kick, that bicycle kick, the famous one, and then his career, and he said that, my career, when I've interviewed him, my career went downhill. Jerry Francis left. I wasn't very happy. West Ham came along. He got back in the England squad. He got back into the World Cup squad. He wouldn't have done that if he was still at QPR. Yeah. I think he realised that. And so that's why he's always really so thankful. I've never seen a man so, because obviously at the moment, around the ground, we've put these stickers of the legends or whatever that, of like, it says like Run of Rio and and there's one of Trev, and I took a picture and I sent it to him. I said, "Look, Trev, look, you're on," and he was so appreciative. It's incredible how happy he was that he was idolized on the side of the stadium. Honestly, it's incredible. Such a lovely bloke.
He should know he's a West Ham. He should know that.
Definitely. Right, Mr. Sinclair is in. Okay, let's go into the centre midfield positions then. Steve, who's your first central midfielder?
Scott Parker.
Scotty P.
Yeah.
Good old Scott Parker. Not a great return on him on Saturday, but yeah. Unfortunately.
Probably going to be a future West Ham manager, though, eh?
I'd hope so. Yeah. I really hope so. He's got that mix between old school and new school. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. How he played, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Rolls his sleeves up, but he was technically a fan. He had the old school mentality of you keep going, you do 100%, you keep going. But he was a very skillful player. And he scored some great, really important goals for us.
Do you think Noble learnt a lot from him?
Definitely. I think it's and I've spoken about it before, the circle of life. You have, you've got Scott Parker. Yeah, Mark learned a lot from Scott Parker, and Mr. Rice has learned a lot from Mr. Noble. So it's like, it's sort of this.
Yeah.
And they've all, and they all do the Parker pirouette. Remember Scott we used to stick his bum out and do a little turn. Mark does that. And I noticed Deck did it the other day, but he's, and I just think I think Scott Parker is just now, he's so classy. You know what I mean? He looks so, looks so dapper on Saturday. Almost like he's almost got like, if he doesn't become West Ham manager sometime. I've got a feeling he might be the next England manager. Do you know, he looks like a Gareth Southgate, but just like in the wash, a little smaller version of Gareth South. But he's, you know, and he's so passionate about football, and that's what you want in a manager, isn't it?
Good call. If we're going to keep it English, that's a brilliant call, ain't it?
But like it's the same. I mean, Gareth Southgate, before he became England manager, he was the under-23s. Didn't really have a glittering managerial career, did he? Outside of So anyway, but I want him at West Ham eventually. I just think it'd be brilliant.
It'd be nice, yeah.
It's sort of like really good. Right, Scotty P, 3-time winner, Ham of the Year in a row. Again, that doesn't happen very often. So put Scott Parker in. Who's Scott going to partner in the centres then?
Paolo Di Canio.
Oh, okay.
Paolo is, mate, he is. I mean, Payet was class, but Di Canio. I mean, when we and it wasn't Nick, even though other clubs wouldn't touch him. You know, Harry was like straight in there. He's like, I want that guy. I mean, I was picking him from a team way back then. You know, when he was playing for Wednesday, I was like, I love this guy. He's just put so much into his game, you know, and he was sort of pretty much unknown, you know, and it was like, this guy is quality. And then we suddenly snatched him, and I thought, that's brilliant, because he's probably learned his lesson now with the refs, you know, after that. But it's Paolo, you know, and he gave us so many brilliant moments, you know.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And that's exactly what I was saying about before, about the characters, you know. Payet, technically the best player I've ever seen at West Ham, without a shadow of a doubt. But Di Canio was my favourite player at West Ham, because he had that technical stuff. But you was entertained. You'd go to the game thinking, what Paolo's going to turn up? Is it going to be the technically brilliant? Is it going to be the soap opera? Oh, the soap opera. Is it going to be the Mamma Mia? You know, loved him.
Down, I'm not playing.
Yeah. Oh, and again, it's a song. Having a song, I just think, you know, and he was the first one that I can remember who people outside of West Ham, like my you know, my mum and my family, you know, who weren't really into football, they knew Paolo Di Canio because he was doing the Imperial leather adverts. You know what I mean? It's like, it was just So it was just like, you know, we haven't had one of them since the Cossack adverts of Phil Parkes. You know, so it was. No, I loved him. I just thought it was brilliant, and he was, you know, he's still so passionate about West Ham, and it's just lovely to see, you know. And I think also the same thing about Trevor Sinclair. That's what I was going to say. I didn't say Paolo because I thought you put Paolo in your team. I think he's so appreciative because, you know, as you said, once he pushed that referee over, that could have been his career over easily in the game. And as you said, wasn't really. Yeah, it was, and wasn't really sort of pulling up trees at Sheffield Wednesday. It was good. Him and Carbone were brilliant, but they weren't like. You wouldn't have put them in like, you know, Thierry Henry, Bergkamp sort of territory. Come to West Ham, and he's become a Premier League great. You know, one of the ones, you know, like Zola, and he's in the same sort of mould. And he knows that. I'm pretty sure he knows, he knows that. You know?
Don't matter what team you support, you've heard of Paolo Di Canio. Paolo Di Canio, and you know he's like a legend. It's like he might have been West Ham, but the guy was a football legend, and that's pretty much at West Ham what earned him that, you know.
Yeah, he definitely, absolutely, definitely, man. Right, so, okay, so Mr. Di Canio is in. Let me just write that down so I don't forget. Okay, Paolo is in, then Steve. Right, up front. Who we got up front? Who's your first striker, then, Steve?
It was so hard. I'm gonna stick with Tevez. I'm going to stick with him just for
Sorry, Samasti.
Season, you know, keeping us up.
Yeah.
He lost us a few quid. He you know, he gave West Ham fans something to actually cheer about that season, you know?
Yeah.
So I thought, I'm putting him in. I didn't want to be too samey, you know, with everyone else's choices. I wanted to like mix it up a little bit. And I've players who I've seen live, you know, who I've actually seen and loved every minute of watching them, you know, keeping my eye on that player throughout the whole game and everything. And you know, Tevez was
brilliant.
Yeah.
He's a great player. He was great.
Yeah.
And what I liked about him as well is he obviously we've had like a lot of players interviewed who were around that time that Carlos was there. So like Anton Ferdinand and John Pantser. Remember John Pantser? We had him on and people like that. And they talk about how Carlos really wanted to integrate himself within the team. Like, you know, be part of the team, despite the fact he didn't speak English. And that's really nice to see. Do you know what I mean? Particularly someone like him and Mascherano, they come in it was almost like they were bundled into a van and they sort of let them out because of that picture of him and Pardew. It was so really strange.
Yeah.
But that's West Ham.
I mean, Pardew wouldn't even play him, would he?
Famously, no.
Fans actually weren't they chanting for Tevez? You know what I mean? He was on the bench, but up chanting for him until he brought him on, basically, and then he'd do his magic, and the whole team would come alive. Once he got on the pitch, the whole team would suddenly start playing. You know, it was like, wow, look, we can play.
Yeah, so, he was like a terrier, wasn't he? He was like a terrier. You know, he would just like run about, like, you know,
starting in there.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Carlos up front.
Okay, and there's one more. Yeah, you got one more spot, Steve. Who's he going to be?
With another player who had his own song, Bobby Zamora.
Oh, the Z-Man, the Z-Man. Let me find Bobby. Where is he? Where is Bobby Zamora? Yes, big fan of Bobby, the Z-Man.
Yeah. I mean,
again,
I remember club shop and they were selling CDs of the Bobby Zamora song. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When the ball hits the net, who's the scorer? I bet it's Zamora. And that got changed, didn't it, the next season or something, to like when you're sat in row Z and the ball hits your head. That's Zamora. Yeah, but that's what I love. He you know, he done what he did, and that's good enough.
Yeah, he's a fan, you know, and again, there's something about a fan playing for your club. You know what I mean? You know they're going to give their all. Yeah. It's a bit like the Martin Noble syndrome. Martin Noble, you know, despite the fact, you know, bless him, you know, he's coming to the end. We know he's coming to the end. But despite that, you know, every game he plays, he puts that shirt on, whether it's for 10 minutes or he starts, he's going to put his all in. And that was like Zamora. He would run. He would put his all in. And I remember the season we went up, obviously he scored the goal, which brought us up, you know, but I remember that season we went up, he was top goal scorer for like a couple of months because he just had the knack, you know. It was just like but he wouldn't score like a clean goal. I remember once, I think it was Liverpool, I think it came off his arse and that one it came off his back. But I don't care as long as they go in, innit, Steve?
That's it. As long as it gives us something to cheer about, something that matters, ain't it? We don't care how we get it.
We don't care.
As long as we don't, you know, as long as we don't cheat, and even then, it's like it seems like that's what everyone. So it's not so bad.
No, nowadays everyone just dives anyway, innit? So there's no problem, you know.
They get away with it even with VAR. So
that's what I don't understand. You know how people can still get away with it when they're obviously just dive. You know, it's ridiculous. It's not like being like 20, 30 cameras at every game, and they're still not being picked up for it. It's bad, isn't it? It is bad.
Yeah.
Obviously, I remember Lanzini. Lanzini got done, didn't he? When a couple of years ago.
He got banned, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's the only player who gets banned, I think, out of all of them. All the top teams, their players do it, get caught out, don't get a penalty or whatever because they're dived, but they totally get away without even a card, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, well, they're going to keep doing it then, ain't they?
Yeah, it's West Ham, innit? That's why, innit? It's like England, innit? It's like, you know, why isn't... I know we've said we don't want Antonio to be in the England squad, but... You know, he's one of the top strikers in the country at the moment. He offers something very different than every other striker England have got. Why isn't he in the squad? Jared Bowen, he could easily be in the squad, you know, based on how, you know, he's probably playing just as well as everyone else, but they play for West Ham, Steve, don't they?
Yeah.
That's always happened.
I love Bowen. I like the whole, like I said earlier, I like the whole team we've got at the moment.
Me too.
I like what Moyes is doing, surprisingly. You know, he seems to be doing the right thing there. So I've got no complaints, and you know, hopefully the fans will settle down and enjoy the football and forget about the owners for a little while, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, again, it's like the West Ham. We always need something to talk about, innit? And so, you know, the facts, you know, I mean, obviously Saturday wasn't. I mean, we came out early doors. We could have scored a couple of goals straight on. We struggled.
Below average though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
compared
it was
to how we've been playing in
exactly.
4 or 5 games.
But
it's definitely below par.
Yeah, it was. But we've never had. But West Ham have never been any different. It's like we've always struggled against the Burnleys, and
you're half expected to lose it, didn't you?
Yeah, you are.
You're almost expecting to lose against these teams, the lower down the league teams.
Yeah,
beat
and
the
we
top
won.
team, then lose to the bottom one. That's
the West Ham
way.
That's the West Ham way. But we won. Yeah. That's the thing. We beat a team lower, and that's the thing. It might have been scrappy. It might not have been, but we got the 3 points.
Yeah.
2 years ago, 18 months ago, we wouldn't have won that game. We wouldn't have. We'd have settled for the 0-0 with 80, 90 odd minutes. But they keep going. And what I love about this team is there's always looks like there's a goal in them. Do you know what I mean? I remember losing 3-0 to Leeds at Upton Park once, and we had like Mike Newell and someone else. I think it might have been Brian Dean or Jonah, bless him, up front, and we didn't like scoring. And it's like we always look like we're going to score at the moment, and I think it's really, really encouraging. Yeah. I totally agree with what you mean. Moyes is getting a tune out of them, and it works. It's working, and hopefully, I think the next thing I'd like to see now is giving Moyes giving him a 2-year contract or whatever, so that he can start building. He can go out in January and pick up these young strikers and these young players to bleed in 12, 18 months' time. He's not going to go out and buy a player who's not going to mature for another 2 years if his contract runs out in the summer. Do you know what I mean? It's like your head's in the wrong place. Where if you give him a long contract, they can build it, innit? So
yeah, mate.
We'll see, man. But that's it. That's it, Steve. That's it. All done. 51 minutes have flown by, my man.
Brilliant. That's
brilliant.
That's been an honour, mate, coming on here.
No, thank you. No, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And obviously, thank you to everyone for watching as well. If you're watching on YouTube, mate, obviously, like, share, subscribe.
And I'll be watching every. I've got a lot to catch up on at the moment.
You've got about 220 episodes to catch up with, Steve.
That's amazing, mate.
You've watched one of them. I know you've watched Jack's one, so that's it.
No, I've watched a few.
I ain't joking.
Ray Winston, who ain't going to watch that, eh?
Ray Winston in a pub as well. In a pub. Yeah. That was about. I wasn't expecting to get Ray now. I was expecting Ray in a couple of months' time, but. Yeah.
I love how he's just puffing away on a fan.
Well, that's what happened. And I said to him, I said, "Look, I'll do it in a special place for you because you're Mr. Winston." And he went, "Wait, you do it?" He went, "Oh, is that a pub?" And I went, "Well, it's my mate's bar at the end of his garden." He went, "Oh, I'll get my fags out then. I'll have a smoke." And I said, "But you can't smoke in bars in England." He went, "You can in Sicily, mate. Top bloke. He's a top bloke.
He's a daddy, mate. He can smoke wherever he wants.
Oh, he can. He's a lovely bloke, and he's it was an honour to chat to him. He's a lovely guy, and everyone really appreciates it, which is good. That's it. You like listening from people and just finding out what their journey was, who the players they liked, and that's all this is about, man. But I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you. As I said, thank you to everyone for watching as well. From me and Steve, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Come on, you irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone.
Nice one, Russ.
See ya.